Welcome, my friend. I'm truly glad that you're here today. Take a deep breath. Let your shoulders drop. Let your mind settle, because what we're about to explore could change the way you face conflict forever. Today we'll uncover the teachings of a man who mastered the art of stillness in chaos, Miyamoto Musashi, and how his timeless wisdom can help you stay calm in any confrontation. Before we begin, I want you to comment the phrase "I receive" below. When you type it, you're not just writing words, you're declaring your readiness to receive peace, wisdom, and emotional control. You're telling your soul that from this moment forward, no storm outside you will shake the stillness within you. Now, take one more breath. Let's begin. There's a certain beauty in calmness, a quiet kind of strength that doesn't need to shout, doesn't need to prove itself. It's a strength that comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. Musashi, one of the greatest samurai who ever lived, said, "You must remain calm at all times. If your mind is unstable, your sword will be unstable." Even though most of us don't carry swords today, we do carry emotions that can cut. Our words, our reactions, our anger. Every confrontation is like a duel. The question is not whether we win or lose, but whether we stay centered while the world tries to pull us off balance. Musashi was undefeated in over 60 duels, but his real victories were internal. He won the battles no one saw, the battles against fear, pride, and ego. He trained not just his hands, but his mind. And it's that mental mastery that made him untouchable. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, expressed this truth perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Let that sink in for a moment. You cannot control the world, but you can control the world within you. When someone confronts you, whether it's through anger, jealousy, or disrespect, your first reaction might be emotional. You might feel the heat rise in your chest, the tightening in your throat, the instinct to defend yourself. But calmness is choosing not to let those emotions take over. Calmness is the pause between the trigger and your response. Musashi lived by a principle called Fudoshin, the immovable mind. It's the unshakable calm in the face of chaos. And that's what we all must cultivate. Think of a confrontation you faced recently. Maybe it was an argument at work or tension in your relationship. What really caused the chaos? Was it the situation itself or the way it made you feel? Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most confrontations are battles between perceptions, not truths. We imagine threats, disrespect, and insult, but those thoughts are what cause our turmoil. The calm person understands this. They see beyond the surface. They listen, they observe, and they respond, not from pride, but from understanding. Musashi said, "Perceive that which cannot be seen with the eye." In confrontation, this means looking past the words being spoken and seeing the emotion underneath. Most people who lash out are revealing their weakness, not their strength. Their anger is a confession of internal chaos. When you remain calm, you reveal your control, and that control silences chaos. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." In confrontation, that means don't expect others to always act with wisdom. They may react emotionally, impulsively, or even cruelly, but that's their test. Yours is to remain unmoved. You cannot fight fire with fire. You fight it with water, calm, flowing, and steady. Musashi's life was full of situations that could have consumed him. Yet he lived simply, detached from material possessions and the opinions of others. His calmness was born from clarity. He knew that everything external was fleeting. He said, "The true science of martial arts means practicing them in such a way that they will be useful at any time, and to teach them in such a way that they will be useful in all things." In other words, calmness wasn't something he practiced only in duels. It was his way of life. Now I want to speak directly to you, because confrontation isn't always physical. It could be an argument with someone you love. It could be a disagreement with a colleague. It could even be a battle with your own thoughts. But the principle remains the same. Your peace is sacred. And no one, no situation should have the power to take it from you. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So when you face confrontation, your task is not to win the argument. It's to win yourself. It's to show the universe that you are in control of your emotions, your mind, and your energy. Musashi understood this deeply. In his book, The Book of Five Rings, he said, "In strategy, It is important to see distant things as if they were close and to take a distanced view of close things. That's what calmness gives you. Perspective. When you stay calm, you can see clearly. When you lose your temper, your vision narrows, your wisdom fades, and your ego takes command. And ego never seeks peace, it seeks validation. But validation is not power. Peace is. Seneca wrote, "He who angers you conquers you." So the moment someone provokes you and you lose your calm, they win. Not because they were right, but because they took your inner peace away, and that peace is your true strength. Musashi didn't just train his body, he trained his mind to remain unmoved. He meditated in solitude, spent years wandering the mountains, and studied nature to understand life's flow. He said, "From one thing know 10,000 things." By understanding himself, he understood the world. That's the secret. The world is only as chaotic as your mind allows it to be. If your mind is calm, the world becomes calm. Now let's talk about the modern world where confrontation is everywhere. Social media, news, work, relationships, we're constantly bombarded with conflict. People want to be right more than they want to be wise. Everyone is ready to argue, but few are ready to listen. So what would Musashi do if he lived today? He would still practice the same principle, observation over reaction. He would not rush to reply. He would not take words personally. He would not chase validation. Marcus Aurelius said, "Choose not to be harmed, I see, and you won't feel harmed." Don't feel harmed, Amon, when you haven't been. It's a mental discipline. The calm person is not calm because life is easy. They are calm because they have trained their mind not to give power to what doesn't matter. You can do this too. The next time someone confronts you, don't rush to reply. Let there be silence. Let your breath lead the moment. Observe your feelings rising and falling. And remember, silence can be the loudest response. When you speak, let it come from understanding, not from ego. Let your words be measured, calm, and purposeful. The goal is not to defeat, but to dissolve the tension. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." So every confrontation is not a curse, and it's a test, a divine opportunity for you to prove your composure. When you remain calm, you're not avoiding the battle, you're winning it at a higher level. Musashi didn't avoid confrontation. He transcended it. That's what calmness is. It's not weakness. It's transcendence. Now, my friend, take a moment and reflect. What does calmness mean to you? What happens inside you when conflict arises? What are you really defending, your peace or your pride? These questions may be uncomfortable, but they reveal truth. And truth is where calmness begins. When you know who you are, nothing outside can shake you. You become like a mountain. The winds may roar, storms may strike, but you stand unshaken, unmoved. That's the essence of Fudoshin. Marcus Aurelius said, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. So don't run from confrontation, use it. Every time you face it with calmness, you strengthen your discipline. You grow wiser, more centered, more powerful." Now, if this message has already touched your heart, take a moment to like this video, not for me, but as a gesture of gratitude. Gratitude to yourself for choosing growth over reaction, peace over chaos. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the Wisdom Within channel, where we bring you timeless teachings from Stoicism, Zen, and ancient philosophy, so that you can live not just peacefully, but powerfully. We'll continue deeper into Musashi's wisdom, how he used calmness as a weapon in combat, and how you can use it as a spiritual discipline in your daily life. Because the truth is, calmness isn't learned in peace. It's learned in the storm. Take another deep breath and let it ground you in this moment. You're not just listening to words, and you're training your mind the way a samurai trains his sword. Every word of this teaching is a stroke of discipline across your inner world. Miyamoto Musashi's entire philosophy was built on mastering the self. He didn't fight to destroy others. He fought to conquer his own fear, doubt, and hesitation. He once said, "The primary thing when you take a sword in your hands is your intention to cut the enemy, whatever the means. Whenever you parry, hit, spring, strike, or touch the enemy's cutting sword, you must cut the enemy in the same movement." Now you might wonder, what does this have to do with staying calm? Everything. Because in Musashi's words, intention is what decides your energy. If your intention in a confrontation is to defend your pride, you will be tense. If your intention is to dominate, you will be restless. But if your intention is to stay centered, to act from clarity and inner strength, then calmness becomes your greatest weapon. Seneca once wrote, "No man is more powerful than he who has himself in his own power." This means real strength isn't in controlling others. It's in controlling yourself when others cannot control themselves. Think about it. Most confrontations spiral out of control because one person loses command over their emotions. The other person reacts to that energy, and both fall into chaos. But the calm one, the centered one, stands above the storm. Musashi trained for this state of stillness his whole life. After his final duel, he retreated into solitude, living as a hermit in a cave called Reigondo. He spent his final years meditating, writing, and perfecting his philosophy. He realized that the battlefield of life is not in the outer world, and it is within the mind. He wrote in the Book of 5 Rings, "If you wish to control others, you must first control yourself." This is not about manipulation, it's about influence. When you are calm, you influence the entire atmosphere around you. Your energy dictates the energy of the space. Calmness disarms aggression. It makes people question their own reactions. Imagine you're in a heated argument. The other person is raising their voice full of emotion. Instead of matching their energy, you stay quiet. You breathe. You speak softly and firmly. Suddenly they start to slow down. Their energy loses momentum because there's nothing for it to feed on. That's the power of calmness. Marcus Aurelius said, "A man becomes what he thinks about all day long." So if your thoughts are filled with anger, fear, and defensiveness, you will reflect that in every confrontation. But if your thoughts are anchored in peace, understanding, and awareness, that's the energy you'll project. Musashi lived this principle long before it was ever written down. He once entered a duel late on purpose. His opponent, frustrated and impatient, lost his focus. When Musashi finally arrived, calm and composed, he easily won. It wasn't arrogance, it was strategy. He understood that the man who loses his calm loses his control. In your own life, you will face confrontations that test your patience. People will try to provoke you, insult you, or misunderstand you. But remember, the moment you react in anger, you've handed your power away. Epictetus taught, when someone is properly grounded in life, they should not have to look outside themselves for approval. That's the essence of calm. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need validation. When you know who you are, no one's words can shake your peace. Musashi's entire strategy was based on adaptability, the way water adapts to its container. He said, "In strategy, you must know the ways of other schools so that you may understand their strengths and weaknesses. In spiritual terms, this means knowing the energy of the people you encounter. When you understand what fuels them, whether it's pride, insecurity, fear, or pain, you no longer take their aggression personally. You see it for what it is, a reflection of their own struggle, and that insight frees you. Calmness is freedom. Freedom from the need to control, the need to defend, the need to win. Because the calm person has already won. They've won mastery over themselves." Seneca said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The person who cannot stay calm in confrontation is a slave, not to others but to their own emotions. They become a prisoner of reaction. The calm person, however, is free. They choose their responses with awareness. Let me tell you something simple yet powerful. Calmness is not a personality trait. It's a practice. It's something you build every day through self-awareness. Start small. When someone cuts you off in traffic, breathe instead of reacting. When a friend misunderstands you, listen instead of interrupting. When a coworker speaks rudely, smile instead of retaliating. Every act of restraint strengthens your calmness. Every moment of patience trains your mind to remain still in the storm. Musashi said, "You can only fight the way you practice. If you practice chaos, you'll respond with chaos. If you practice calm, you'll respond with peace." Marcus Aurelius gave a similar lesson. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Don't talk about calmness, embody it, live it. Let your presence speak louder than your reactions. Now let's explore something deeper. Detachment. Musashi was not just calm, he was detached. Detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means you see things clearly without emotional distortion. He said, "The way of the warrior is resolute acceptance of death." What he meant is that once you accept the worst that could happen, nothing can control you. When you are no longer afraid to lose, you stop reacting out of fear. You become centered. In confrontation, most people react because they fear something. Fear of losing face, losing respect, or losing control. But once you release that fear, you become untouchable. Seneca wrote, "He suffers more than necessary, who suffers before it is necessary." That's what fear does. It makes us suffer before anything has even happened. Calmness removes that suffering. So next time you feel anger rising, remember, it's just a wave. Let it pass. You are the ocean beneath it, vast, deep, and unmoved. Musashi also said, "Do not let the enemy see your spirit." This means never let your emotions expose your weakness. Calmness hides your inner world from those who seek to disrupt it. When you stay composed, you remain mysterious. You hold the power because you're not revealing your emotional state. Even in silence, calmness speaks. It says, "I am not moved by this. I am larger than this." Marcus Aurelius offered a simple reminder. The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. Calmness isn't passive. It's active strength in disguise. It's the warrior's armor in a world full of noise. Let me ask you something. How would your life change if you could remain calm no matter what happens? How much energy would you save if you stopped reacting to every insult, every inconvenience, every misunderstanding? That's the promise of Musashi's teaching. Calmness is not about avoiding life's conflicts. It's about walking through them with grace. It's about looking chaos in the eye and saying, "You do not command me." If these words resonate with you, take a moment to like this video. You're not just supporting this channel, you're affirming your commitment to peace. Every small act of intention reinforces your path toward mastery. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the Wisdom Within channel for more teachings that bridge ancient philosophy with modern life. Because wisdom like this is meant to be lived, not just heard. Now, I want to take you deeper into the mindset that Musashi carried into every battle, and how that mindset can help you remain calm in your own confrontations. Because there's one thing Musashi knew better than anyone. The calmest warrior is the most dangerous one. Take a deep breath and let these final teachings of Musashi and the Stoics sink into your heart. Musashi believed that every confrontation, whether on the battlefield or in daily life, is not really against another person, but against your own inner turbulence. He wrote, "You must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain." This means that confrontation isn't something to fear or avoid. It's a mirror reflecting your inner state. Every argument, every challenge, every disagreement reveals how much mastery you have over your emotions. And once you see it that way, confrontation becomes a teacher, not a threat. When Musashi faced an opponent, he didn't see an enemy. He saw an opportunity to sharpen his awareness. He approached each duel not from hatred, but from a state of perfect calm. Because when the mind is still, you see everything clearly, every movement, every weakness, every truth. Now imagine bringing that same clarity into your own confrontations, with your boss, your partner, your friends, even with yourself. Instead of reacting with frustration or defensiveness, you pause, you breathe, you see the situation as it truly is. That's the art of calm confrontation, responding from awareness, not emotion. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully when he wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That's the Stoic secret. The situation isn't what disturbs you, it's your perception of it. You can't always control what happens, but you can control what it means to you. You can decide in every moment that peace matters more than pride. Seneca echoed this wisdom when he said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Think about that. Most of your stress doesn't come from what's happening, but from what your mind imagines could happen. You argue in your head before the real argument even begins. You replay insults that were never spoken. You create storms in a clear sky. Musashi would say, "Perceive that which cannot be seen with the eye." He meant, look beyond appearances. When someone confronts you with anger, look deeper. Maybe they're hurting. Maybe they're afraid. Maybe they feel unseen. And once you see that truth, you stop reacting to their words and start responding to their pain. That's what true calmness looks like. compassion disguised as strength. To stay calm in confrontation, you must understand that calmness is not weakness, it's control. It's mastery. It's dominance without aggression. Because when you're calm, you make better decisions. You think clearly. You don't waste energy. Seneca said, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." Every time you lose your calm, you lose more than just the argument. You lose your peace, your energy, your inner balance. But when you keep your calm, you preserve your power. Musashi practiced what the Stoics preached, presence. He trained to stay completely aware of the present moment, never lost in emotion or expectation. "Today is victory over yourself of yesterday," he wrote. That's the essence of this journey. Not to win against others, but to win against your old self. The self that reacted too quickly, that spoke too soon, that feared too easily. You are here now, listening, learning, transforming, and that's no small thing. You're doing the same inner work that warriors, monks, and philosophers have done for thousands of years. The Stoics believed that calmness comes from alignment, when your actions match your values, when your reactions match your wisdom. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This is what Musashi lived by. No matter what chaos unfolded outside, he anchored himself within. He didn't let circumstances decide his state of mind. He decided it. That's the way of the calm warrior. You can practice this right now. The next time you feel tension rising, pause and breathe. Inhale deeply through your nose, hold for a moment and exhale through your mouth. Feel your heartbeat slowing. Feel your awareness expanding. Then silently say to yourself, "I control how I respond." That simple phrase will bring you back to the present, the only place where peace truly exists. Musashi would often meditate before battle, not to escape fear, but to meet it with awareness. He knew that when the mind is calm, every movement flows naturally. Calmness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing everything from a centered place. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved and the raging of the sea still falls around it." You can be that rock in solid, calm, and unshaken. The waves of life will come, but they cannot move you if you are rooted in stillness. When you face confrontation, you're not being tested by others. You're being trained by the universe. Every difficult person, every harsh word, every misunderstanding is a divine exercise for your soul. It's shaping you into something unbreakable. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." So instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Because that's what Musashi did. He turned every battle into a lesson, and his greatest victory was not over any man, but over his own restlessness. He understood that calmness isn't found through comfort. It's forged in conflict. When you practice calmness in the heat of confrontation, you build a stillness that no external chaos can shake. And one day you'll realize, no matter what happens, no one can take away your peace unless you hand it over. Remember this: calmness is not silence. It's presence. It's power. It's knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet. It's feeling anger rise and still choosing peace. It's being aware of every emotion but ruled by none. Musashi said, "The ultimate aim of martial arts is not having to use them." Similarly, the ultimate aim of calmness is not to prove how composed you are, but to reach a state where no one's chaos can disturb your inner harmony. Marcus Aurelius urged himself daily, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, 'The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly, but I will not be angry or astonished, for I cannot be harmed by any of them.'" That's the mindset of a calm soul, expecting imperfection, yet never losing balance. And so, my friend, when you face confrontation, remember Musashi's path. Don't meet force with force, meet it with stillness. Don't let anger dictate your actions. Let clarity lead them, because in the end, calmness always wins. When you respond calmly, you confuse aggression. You quiet chaos. You lead with wisdom instead of ego, and that is how you rise above. Now, if these words have touched something deep within you, if you're ready to walk the path of the calm warrior, take a moment to type "blessed and ready" in the comments. That's your declaration. That's your reminder to the universe that you're choosing peace over reaction, clarity over chaos, strength over struggle. And if this message spoke to your spirit, please give this video a like. It helps more souls like you find these teachings. Make sure you're subscribed to the Wisdom Within channel, where we bring the timeless teachings of masters like Musashi, Marcus Aurelius, and Seneca to guide you in your modern journey of inner strength and awareness. Because you are not just learning, you are becoming. Every moment you choose calmness, you step closer to mastery. Every time you pause instead of react, you win another quiet victory over yourself. Musashi would be proud of that, and so would the Stoics. Now go forth, calmly, not as a victim of emotion, but as a master of it. Your calmness is your weapon, your peace is your power, your awareness is your victory. You are, and will always be, unshakable. Close your eyes for a moment and just breathe. Feel the weight of your chest rise and fall. The world around you may still be loud, but within you there is silence waiting to be remembered. In that silence lives your true power. It's not in your voice, not in your fists, not even in your thoughts. It's in your stillness. This is the same stillness Miyamoto Musashi carried when he faced the edge of a sword. It's the same stillness Marcus Aurelius held when leading an empire. It's the same stillness Seneca cultivated when facing death with grace. They all knew what you are beginning to remember. That calmness is not the absence of storms, but the presence of spirit. When you remain calm, you see what others cannot see. You feel what others have forgotten to feel. You begin to notice that confrontation isn't really between people. It's between truth and illusion, between the higher self and the lower self. When someone insults you, they are not showing you who you are. They are revealing who they are. When someone provokes you, they are not testing your strength. They are begging to witness your peace. So when the next wave of anger or tension comes, let it rise. Don't run from it, watch it. Let it roll through you like wind through bamboo, flexible, silent, unbroken. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." That is how you maintain your calm, by expecting imperfection from others, but demanding growth from yourself. Because peace is not granted by the world, it's built by discipline. Musashi taught, "You can only fight the way you practice." So if you practice patience when it's easy, you'll find peace when it's hard. If you train your mind to stay centered when the world is still, you'll remain unmoved when the world begins to spin. Every small argument is a dojo. Every disagreement is a training ground for your soul. And every breath you take consciously, even in tension, is another step toward mastery. Calmness is not passive. It's the quiet fire that refines your strength. It doesn't shout. It doesn't rush. It simply knows. Because calmness is born from wisdom, and wisdom comes from the understanding that everything is temporary, even confrontation. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." And what is bravery, if not the courage to stay still in the face of chaos? When you no longer react from fear, you are free. When you no longer chase validation, you are free. When you no longer let others pull the strings of your emotions, you have become untouchable. So let the world do what it does. Let people say what they say. You stay unmoved. Stay aligned. Stay in your truth. Your peace is your fortress, and no one can enter without your permission. Musashi's final lesson to his students before his death was not about the sword. It was about the spirit. He said, "The ultimate aim of the way of the warrior is to be prepared for death, to be at peace with whatever may come." That's the heart of calmness. Acceptance. Not surrendering to weakness, but surrendering to what is. Because once you accept reality fully, nothing can scare you and nothing can steal your peace. As you step back into your day, remember, every conversation is a chance to practice this truth. Every confrontation is an invitation to prove your calmness. And every breath is an opportunity to choose awareness over reaction. You are no longer reacting from the wounds of the past. You are responding from the wisdom of the present. You are walking the same path Musashi walked, the same path Marcus and Seneca guided others toward, the path of inner mastery. So walk calmly, warrior. Speak gently. See clearly. Move with purpose. Because the world needs fewer loud voices and more calm souls. And you, yes, you are one of them now. If these words have resonated with your soul, type "blessed and ready" in the comments below. It's your affirmation, your declaration of inner power. And don't forget to like this video, so others searching for strength in silence can find their way here. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the Wisdom Within channel, where ancient teachings come alive to guide your modern journey. Because every week we share messages like this, lessons from the great minds of history that awaken the calm warrior within you. Remember, the calm soul conquers faster. The still heart sees farther, and the quiet mind wins every battle before it begins. You are not here by accident. You were meant to hear this. Now carry this calmness into the world. Let your peace speak louder than your words, and let your spirit stand tall, unshaken, and free. Until we meet again, stay grounded, stay grateful, and stay unmoved, because you are, and always will be, the calm in every storm.